All right, back up to News Topper 9's Johnny Rollins. We are now on top of this chase. Kansas City, Kansas, Johnny, is that where we are?
Yeah, this is going to be the, didn't hear you there, Chris. BNSF Railroad Yard. That's the suspect vehicle. Police in pursuit now. It looks like they're going to come back around here between 18th Street Expressway and 635, this just south of I-70. And there is the suspect vehicle in the dirt again, going by some, I don't know if that's a dilapidated building, obviously. This driver has been on the railroad tracks trying to go over the railroad tracks where there are no crossings. And you'll see when that happens, it's a pretty rough ride. We do have police, KCK police, I believe, at least in this vicinity, and have been pursuing. Got close there a couple of minutes ago, as you saw, but now just kind of driving around some of these this industrial area, and it looked like slipping a little bit there. I don't know if it was because they were in the mud or maybe having a tire go down, which would not be surprising at all. There are a ton of police vehicles now. Go ahead and pull back and show that, police vehicles there, paralleling this driver, coming up to 18th Street Expressway now. This will be under 18th Street Expressway in this industrial district, and this is a dead end, I believe. So we may see this come to an end as police are down there, and we may see the driver here bail out, maybe under the bridge. We'll see if they make it under the bridge to the other side. Not sure there's going to be any place to go there, though. So right now, police intercepting. There's the police helicopter. There is the vehicle again, out from underneath the bridge. That was 18th Street Expressway. Now heading down towards Kansas Avenue, back under 18th Street Expressway, the north and southbound lanes. But I don't necessarily know where that goes. So that might be another dead-end situation, and maybe we'll see them come out from underneath that bridge. But right now, it looks like that's as far as they got. Want to be sure we haven't lost them someplace else. Nope. They are still under the bridge, and this is where we may see the suspect bail out. I could not see, Chris, you might have been able to see it down there, but I could not see if there was a police car in pursuit. There is a KCK police vehicle under the bridge now, and maybe they are continuing a little bit further down underneath the bridge here, down 18th Street Expressway, underneath 18th Street Expressway. But right now, nearly impossible to tell exactly what is going on underneath there. They are approaching, or the next major street would be Kansas Avenue, as you can see, but I don't see any way to access that. And so we'll see if we see this vehicle come out anywhere else. So far, that is where we lost them, underneath the bridge. And it looked like they were proceeding southbound, but have not seen anything since then, and have not seen police or the vehicle come out from underneath the bridge. So we will send it back to you. And, oh, wait a minute, we might have, did he get back on the highway? I think he did. Hold on just a minute here, Chris. He is going to be back on the highway, and there is a police vehicle pursuing. Be a little bit further downstream. We'll see how far they get. Maybe the vehicle down here a little bit further down by Metropolitan. Yeah, we do see a vehicle at a pretty high rate of speed. And I think that may be them. Oops. All right, what do we have going on here? That may be the vehicle there. Pretty tough. Nope, that's not it. So, well, we do have police proceeding southbound, and we'll just, oh, and now we've got them a little bit further down. Man, that was fast. I got to tell you, they already made it onto 18th Street Expressway way up here with police in pursuit. And, boy, that is just amazing. Look at all the police officers behind this vehicle, and I haven't found the specific vehicle yet, unless that's it right there.
We're looking.
That might be it.
It looks like we're looking for a white pickup, and if I'm following where you're going, Johnny, you're southbound right now over 18th Street Expressway.
Right.
Coming out of maybe the Argentine area of Kansas City, Kansas?
Yeah, and that's going to be the vehicle right there. Finally, we caught up to it. Man, I have no idea how they got from underneath the bridge, 18th Street Expressway over there by Kansas Avenue, and now we're on 18th Street Expressway southbound, just past I-35, going up the hill here into Roeland Park with police in tight pursuit here, as you can see. Now, that is one police vehicle you're seeing, but there are dozens in this pursuit right now trying to keep track of this vehicle. Now we're getting into, by the way, a more densely populated area, more traffic through here, going through I believe this is going to be Road Drive, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, continuing now, of course, 18th Street Expressway southbound turns into Roe Boulevard, and blowing through traffic lights here, as you can see. So a little concerned now, well, very concerned, that we're in a higher traffic area. There, narrowly missed an accident with somebody getting ready to pull out in front of them down near 60th Street, I believe, if not 55th Street. Around the quick trip here, and on another side street headed to the east and northeast with
a momentary interruption in the signal here as this chase has now extended into Roeland Park. Johnny, got you back now.
Okay, and you may know, Chris, why they were trying to stop this vehicle. I haven't had a chance to get that information. So at this point, we don't even know why the pursuit started. It did start in Kansas City, Missouri. First word we got, they were over on I-70 by the Benton Curve and near Prospect. They went from there through downtown, ended up on I-35 at 12th Street, ended up taking 12th Street westbound down into the West Bottoms, and drove around there for quite a while, down by the haunted houses, and then eventually ended up on those railroad tracks we saw. And then from there, of course, down to 18th Street Expressway, jumped on there. That's how we got down to Roe here in Roeland Park. I'm thinking this is going to be about 55th, 54th Street, and police still in tight pursuit as they make their way through Roeland Park now and headed on over to, I would imagine, pretty close to Johnson Drive. That might be 47th Street County Line Road that we're turning on back westbound now. You would think that with these tighter streets, they may be able to get some sort of a blockade going, at least those stop strips out to hopefully slow this guy down. Well, I'm assuming it's a male. We don't know the gender of the driver right now, but police in tight pursuit, maybe getting ready to do that pit maneuver where they come in tight behind them and nudge the rear end of the vehicle around, spin them out, and that is when they end up, of course, getting the suspect into custody. In a residential area, this is not a good sight. Hopefully all schools are out by now, but kids could be out playing on the streets right now in these neighborhoods, and we've got a pretty high-speed chase going on. This, I imagine, maybe in the 35, 40-mile-an-hour range, so not too bad, but still not obeying any of the laws, as you could.
Another momentary interruption in the signal, so just hang with us here as we reconnect with News Chopper 9 as this chase has extended into Roeland Park, maybe even Fairway. We're still trying to figure out how this happened. We understand that perhaps this vehicle came in contact, maybe hit a Kansas City, Missouri police vehicle on Lawndale somewhere, which may be why law enforcement is so. They're still on this chase right now. They haven't broken it off for safety reasons, which in a lot of communities will happen. But again, Johnny, where are we right now? Just so let's get our bearings straight here.
Yeah, it looks like we're going into the parking lot of a shopping center here in Roeland Park. I believe that's going to be a Walmart parking lot they've just pulled into. And now police are in a situation where they should be able to maybe block them in. I mean, if you take a look, and there are people walking around out here in the parking lot, this another dangerous situation where someone could easily get hurt. But with the numerous police vehicles here, you would hope that maybe they're going to be able to block them in. Maybe not. Right now it appears as though could be. We've got police very close. Thought we had them blocked in there. Now heading back to Roe here, eastbound, and back on across the road, I believe. I'm not sure what road that is. It's another side street here in Roeland Park. It will take you over to County Line Road, 47th Street, as they are now northeastbound. Not real high speeds through here, a construction zone, as you can see, but still speeds that, oh man, that was close. Almost took out some of those cones. And it appears as though, too, that the vehicle may be difficult to control right now. So you've got to think maybe driving over some of those railroad tracks that some of the tires blew out, or there could have been a problem in that regard. Certainly not as easy to control a vehicle as it was a while ago. Police still in pursuit, but not real tight right now. And I wonder, well, let's see if they're back behind there. Nope, they're still in pursuit. I thought perhaps they were pulling back. That's I-35 going under I-35 Road Drive, headed on over to Merriam Lane. More railroad tracks here. Oh, airborne, came completely airborne across those railroad tracks, and that had to be probably a 40, 50 mile an hour jump, and you would have to think that could have sustained some damage. The vehicle could have sustained some damage in that jump, as a matter of fact. As they came over that railroad crossing. Now we are west on Merriam Drive, headed on over to 18th Street Expressway. Police are still in pursuit, but not very tight. As we saw a while ago, they were very close behind the vehicle. There's 18th Street Expressway. I don't think that, well, maybe they have broken this off. It's pretty tough to tell right now, but I think they might be in pursuit. But just can't keep up at this point and probably weren't going to do what the driver of this vehicle did, crossing those railroad tracks. Up against a semi, Merriam Lane westbound, headed on over to now 635 as we've crossed 18th Street Expressway. Lamar will be the next major road here that we will see this pickup truck cross. Again, this in Merriam, along Merriam Lane, Merriam Drive, and still disregarding completely any kind of traffic laws in and out of opposing traffic. And boy, you just gotta hope that we don't have
there.
some sort. Yeah, a couple of them, Chris, and now the speeds are really getting up there. Very disturbing. Again, this is semi-residential, if you will, and we do have police, by the way, still in pursuit. It's tough to tell until you look out the window how fast they're going, but this has got to be 70, 80 miles an hour right now. Flying down Merriam Lane, I believe that was Lamar, the light there, westbound in the eastbound lanes. Boy, I just hope that, and people dodging, getting out of the way, just hoping that we're not, an accident waiting to happen here. But as reckless as this guy's going, Chris, or the driver, I should say, is going, you got to wonder. That, I believe, the northbound lanes of 635, there are the southbound lanes of 635. Next major road is going to be Antioch. Have bypassed the on-ramp to 635, so that's not going to be an option. But still, westbound, in the eastbound, another narrow miss. Very, very close. In fact, let's tilt up a little bit and see ongoing traffic. That's the big concern right now. Of course, now in the westbound lanes. It's when we come into these intersections, and they don't have the light, close, threading the needle between those cars north and southbound on Antioch, and now turning more of a southwesterly direction along Merriam Drive. Next major road would be, I believe, Johnson Drive, getting into a business district along Merriam Drive here in Merriam. Still very high speeds, very deceiving. It's a lot faster when you look out the window than it is looking into the camera right now, Chris.
Is there still a police helicopter tracking this thing as well?
We had the police helicopter up initially, but I believe when they crossed from the Missouri to the Kansas side, or are they still on it? Yep, they are still on it, as a matter of fact. So Kansas City, Missouri police helicopter, Papa Delta, in pursuit here. So there's nowhere for this guy to go. Obviously, we've got the camera on it. Police are overhead. And you would just hope that when it gets hopeless, as far as really any opportunity to get away, that they would just call it quits and not hurt anybody, because that's the big fear with these car chases, and we hear it all the time. Police doing their job, they have to pursue. If they decided to never pursue, then everybody would run. So this is the only way that they can have any kind of control of a situation like this, is to let the bad guys know they're not going to just get away without at least a fight. And now we're on some side streets here off Merriam Drive. I believe that's going to be Turkey Creek, paralleling Turkey Creek into, this will be a residential area, I believe. And boy, we'd just love to see them stay out of that, because that's where we're fearing kids are out playing. I guess fortunately it is pretty cold today, so maybe not that many kids out on a spring day with this car or this vehicle doing a 40, 50 mile an hour run to the west now. I think this is going to be pretty close to about 60th, 61st Street, and coming up now, turning southbound down towards Shawnee Mission Parkway. Chris?
So he's north of 63rd. He is a little bit to the west of I-35, and we think he's going westbound, right?
Yeah, and I'm hesitating to say, I did the same thing you're doing. I was hesitating to say he, because we don't know. And we did have one of these where the driver turned out to be a female several years ago. So I'm not going to draw a conclusion on the gender of the driver, but more times than not, yeah, we know it is a male. You could see spinning out there. Yeah, I think we've got a tire down on this truck right now.
And Johnny,
now eastbound on Shawnee Mission Parkway, approaching I-35. Go ahead.
Producers are telling us now what Chris mentioned earlier, that they have confirmed that he did hit an officer at 34th and Lawndale. That may have been exactly what sparked this, as Chris had mentioned a little bit earlier.
Yeah, obviously they were trying to get this suspect in custody. Coming up on I-35, apparently, I was just about to say, no interest in getting on I-35. This could be really interesting, because I-35 this time of the afternoon really loading up with traffic on the shoulder of the road now, the on-ramp from Shawnee Mission Parkway to southbound I-35. And take a look now, approaching 67th Street. That's an exit-only lane to 67th that he's in right now, or the driver is in right now. So it'll be interesting to see if they stay on the highway, and they are. So now we're getting into some very heavy traffic southbound on I-35, but of course you're going to find that the shoulder of the road is wide open. Nobody driving on that. That, I believe, is also the area they reserve for buses only for the drive times. No buses ahead of this now, as police are still in pursuit, and the truck's still on the shoulder of the road. Next intersection, and that is the driver was in that that exit-only lane to 75th Street. Traffic stopping there, probably hearing the police coming up behind, but a couple of narrow misses again. Still very heavy traffic, but not quite. Oh, I think they tagged that car. Looked like they tagged the front of that car. And squeezing between those two cars, holy cow. This is getting really, really, really bad. There is going to be the off-ramp to 75th Street. They are exiting, nope, staying on the highway. So southbound I-35 now, approaching the Overland Parkway. They'll go under 75th here and on down to the Overland Parkway. Speeds now really getting up there again. Police pursuing on that right shoulder right behind the car, merging traffic from 75th. Another tight squeeze. Oh, looked like they might have hit that vehicle as well. They certainly veered off suddenly, or might have gotten hit on the front. To the right there would be the exit ramps and lanes to the Overland Parkway, 69 highway southbound. But it looks like the driver in the far left lanes here, taking that far left shoulder. It would be a quick turn to the right now to get to the Overland Parkway. So we'll see if they stay on I-35. Plenty of lanes through here. Traffic gets lighter and lighter the farther south they go, as you can see. And it looks like that's exactly what they're going to continue going south, Chris.
And you know, I don't know that law enforcement has had an opportunity to throw out a stop strip, any sort of a way to try to blow out those tires, unless maybe, Johnny, it happened somewhere in the West Bottoms as he was kind of going in and out of Kansas Avenue, a little bit south of I-70 there back in KCK, obviously several minutes ago.
Yeah, well, we do know that there's been some problem keeping control of the vehicle. So they could have gotten those strips out, deflated the tires. Of course, that's what they're designed to do. These strips that poke holes in the tires, they are hollow and let the air come out. Now the driver is almost outrunning us. We're doing about 100 miles an hour over the ground and having a tough time keeping up. Police keeping their distance now. Might have been stop strips going out there. I don't think so, because that police officer was well off the highway. And you can see that there's plenty of traffic out there still for them to, they're not going to be able to step out in traffic and throw those stop strips. Continuing southbound, I-35, there's the off-ramp to 435, and it looks like that's where we're going. Westbound 435 now. I believe that will, I'll take that back. That is not 435. It's going to be 95th Street, the exit to 95th Street. This is that diverging diamond, the new one. We did make contact with that vehicle.
Wow.
And, yep, boy, that's at least 3 or 4 cars we've seen them tag right now. Police getting tighter here. You can see police very close, but now we're getting into a really populated area. Headed on over close to the Oak Park Mall as we see eastbound on 95th Street coming through a very busy intersection here. This could be Lenexa Drive, I'm not sure. Are we stopping here? It looks like we're going to continue, and we're right over it. So bear with us while we get the camera back in place, and we can continue this eastbound. So now we're coming up to this very busy intersection of 4th, I should say.
Are we to Quivira yet? Yeah.
Yeah, Quivira and 95th Street, and now we are southbound on Quivira. And I believe, I don't know if police are behind this vehicle now. It could be a police car behind it, but they are certainly motoring again southbound here at a pretty high rate of speed, and we're right over it again. So, yeah, we are continuing the pursuit southbound, and now the next major intersection is going to be 103rd Street. So that is not too far from the Overland Park Medical Center. Regional Medical Center. There is the suspect vehicle that we've been following all the way from the Missouri side through downtown, across the 12th Street Bridge, down into the railroad yards, the BNSF railroad yards and the West Bottoms, over in KCK between 635 and 18th Street Expressway, onto Kansas Avenue, onto southbound 18th Street Expressway, in and out of Roeland Park, and then on down I-35 to 95th Street, exited there through this intersection now. That's 103rd Street. And coming down towards 435, again, pretty close to the hospital. Police are still in pursuit, but seem to be keeping their distance a little bit more than we saw a while ago. Now, I'm not seeing any police out ahead of this. There is crossing traffic now coming out of the medical center as we come up to a busier intersection just before we get to 435. And again, no regard for the light. Don't think they had the light there at all. And you can see continuing southbound across 435. And now the question is, are we going to exit 435, stay on Quivira southbound? I imagine, yep, and it looks like the highway, cutting across traffic again. And again, another close call. So this driver with no regard whatsoever of the traffic laws, and we rarely see that during these chases anyway, but this seems to be particularly ignoring any kind of safety in evading police as they are now eastbound on 435, again switching lanes, having trouble keeping control of the vehicle, passing some semis here and coming up to the Overland Parkway. These lanes cannot exit now until you get all the way over to beyond Antioch. I think the next available exit would be Metcalf, and driver may be happy to just stay on the highway like this. Also getting into that new construction area we have, eastbound 435 between the Overland Parkway on over to Metcalf, the flyover ramps there, and now we're getting into some traffic, and we're getting into some really heavy traffic here. Just looking out the window can see that as we continue eastbound through this construction, as we were saying, they've taken away some lanes, and this is going to be rough for the driver to keep going through, obviously not caring if they hit other vehicles. There's going to be some merging traffic from the right coming off the Overland Parkway in Antioch as well. And right now, really stuck in traffic. Now, the question is, can police get through the traffic close enough to get to that vehicle and maybe get them boxed in and put this to an end? Now, we can still see, and the other drivers here have to be thinking, what in the world is going on? I mean, they don't know there's a car chase going on, and here's some idiot who's in and out of traffic and running into them, and another tight squeeze there. Gee, maybe we need a little road rage now for somebody to come up. Stop strips missed. You saw those stop strips being thrown out from that on-ramp from the Overland Parkway in Antioch to, well, actually Antioch is coming up here, but to eastbound 435. Still in this construction zone. And Chris, right now, police have a great opportunity with this driver trying to get through and forcing their way through, as a matter of fact. There you can see some of that construction, some cones out. More stop strips, didn't make it. Looks like that's two misses right in a row, but at least we do have police on the highway here. Now they're on the other side of those cones we were telling you about. They've taken away those lanes from the other drivers, and now this vehicle that's under pursuit, utilizing those as a quick getaway as they are eastbound on 435. I believe we are approaching Metcalf. We just passed Antioch and coming around the corner to Metcalf. That would be the next available exit should the vehicle decide to exit there. But at this point, why would they, given the wide open spaces eastbound here, probably doing 70, 80, 90 miles an hour with police still in pursuit. Yep, we'll go ahead and pull back, let you see that we do still have police in pursuit here. So thinking probably we've come 15 or 20 miles now in this pursuit for the better part of 30 or 40 minutes, and it doesn't show any signs of stopping. Now, as we get further eastbound on 435, we really should see a crunch, and another narrow miss there, but we really should see a crunch as we get closer to State Line, on over to Wornall, on over to Holmes, as we hit that heavy traffic headed for the Triangle. And as you can see, the speed's really up there again. Those far right lanes, exit only to Knoll and Roe, but opting now back into the far left lanes, out of the construction zone. In that far left lane, traffic yet to get really heavy, but just about to get into the really heavy stuff, just a little downstream, down by State Line. So we're looking at a mile and a half or so before we get into any heavier stuff. You can see that westbound traffic slowing down into that construction, but eastbound, where we're following this vehicle now, out of it. Having trouble keeping up here, doing about 95, 100 miles an hour over the ground, and really we're not gaining on them at all. That is police in that black vehicle behind them, keeping pace. But here's another area where it's going to have to get around some vehicles and around some traffic, utilizing that far left shoulder again. Not too far downstream. We're going to start running into the heavier stuff. Still pretty early in the rush hour here to hit the heaviest that we would expect to see, but I imagine it's going to give police a pretty good opportunity to get in there and hopefully box them in. Having said that, of course, they're going to use the shoulder like they've been doing before, and we have seen this driver use just about everything at their disposal to get around vehicles, and that includes running them off the road, running into them, or pushing them out of the way. So now speed still up around the 80, 90 mile an hour mark. Now starting to see a little bit of heavier traffic, but not as heavy as we would expect to see. And boy, I was hoping to really see this jammed up, but I think it might be all the way over to Holmes before we see the heaviest stuff. And it doesn't look all that heavy even there. Still on the shoulder of the road, coming up to State Line, the off-ramp to State Line, now crossing from the Kansas to the Missouri side. I imagine this is multi-jurisdictional now, and it's not going to matter as far as breaking this off on which side of the state line they're on. Chris, I don't know if you can tell, but these speeds are really getting up there.
Yeah, they really are. And again, for those of you who are just joining us, we're in the middle, News Chopper 9's Johnny Roeland's in the middle of a police pursuit. That's a white pickup that is going right now eastbound on 435, probably, well, past State Line we know, probably approaching Holmes, approaching the Triangle. A chase that began on Lawndale in Kansas City, Missouri, where apparently a police officer or a police vehicle was hit by the driver of this vehicle. And then the chase began through the West Bottoms into Kansas City, Kansas, into parts of Roeland Park. And they're getting off 435, Johnny.
Yeah, they're going the wrong way down this ramp here at Wornall. And let's see what happens. Maybe they're giving up. Let's see. We're going to stay on it. Police are out of their vehicles. Guns drawn, driver is down. This could be it. So eastbound 435, a U-turn onto the ramp to Wornall, and now we have the suspect prone on the ground. Police checking the passenger side. It looks like the driver,
A momentary interruption in the signal. Hang with us here. Hang with us as we reconnect with News Chopper 9's Johnny Roeland's along 435 right off Wornall. This chase is over. This individual is being arrested right now. Johnny, go ahead.
In custody. So Chris, starting all the way from the east side, I-70 into downtown, out of downtown, via 12th Street to I-35, over to the West Bottoms, to the railroad yards. I mean, this went on forever. We don't believe there were any injuries, but several vehicles, multiple vehicles were damaged in this chase. Looks like police have the situation totally under control. Suspect in custody, and it's over. And we're hoping without any injuries. It looks like suspects sitting up even, Chris.
Yeah, we want to welcome our listeners on 98.1 FM KMBZ. They've been following along the audio portion of this chase that has ended off Wornall near 435. And Johnny, you have to wonder, this person, with all of the, we've been in live coverage obviously for several minutes. Maybe somebody knew this driver, maybe gave this driver a call and said, hey, you know, everybody's following you on the ground. There's a police chopper in the air. You're not going to get away. You might as well just give it up. I wonder if that was the situation.
Well, yeah, you got to wonder because, I mean, this was, if anything, he was getting in the clear. And we talked about all the traffic they've been through before. And then all of a sudden, eastbound 435, it was like, okay, Uncle, I give up. And it's actually, I said this was Wornall, and yes, it is. It is Wornall. I thought for a moment it was going to be State Line. So, yeah, the U-turn onto the on-ramp from Wornall to eastbound 435 going westbound on that ramp, stopped the vehicle, opened the door, got out on the ground. Police immediately, with guns drawn on the suspect, and thankfully, this is over. Boy, we saw this go through neighborhoods. We saw kids out there. We saw it through a parking lot where people were having to kind of jump out of the way of this vehicle. And now, thankfully, there goes the perp walk, if you want to call it that, and the suspect in custody. And wow, I hope no one was hurt. We certainly haven't heard anything in that regard, Chris.
It was exhausting to watch, Johnny, just all those near misses. It was very stressful to watch, I'm sure, as you were describing it.
Well, it was, and, you know, we've seen so many of these, and, it just amazes me every time how there's total disregard for anyone else that may be on the highway. And you wonder exactly what has to be going through their mind. I mean, obviously there's some stupid adrenaline rush probably associated with it. But knowing we were above it, the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department was above it, yeah, maybe somebody called the driver or they got on the phone and they said, look, you're not getting away, so you might as well not get hurt, and at that point not hurt anybody else. But I think the biggest crime here for these guys is they're putting so many other people at risk and so much of a chance. We hear it all the time of horrible crashes associated with these chases. But thankfully on this one, although we did see a lot of fender benders, I'd have to say at least a half a dozen vehicles we saw this guy hit. No major crashes, a lot of near misses, but it looks out like in the perspective here, in the context of where we are right now, this one could have been a whole lot worse and probably ended up okay.
Hey, Johnny, we understand that this may, the pickup that this individual is in may have been stolen, which may in part explain why this thing took so long and covered so many miles. You also have to wonder if the individual who was behind the wheel of this pickup truck, given, again, how long this thing went, maybe there are some outstanding warrants involved here as well.
I'm sure there's plenty of the story to go. Well, and if I'm not mistaken, didn't this all start when he tried to run over a police officer?
Right.
So,
either an officer or a vehicle, and we'll get some clarification on that here soon. But yeah, there was some sort of contact with police, and again, knowing that helps explain why law enforcement was in no mood to try to give this thing up.
And it appears, Johnny, that he was the only person in the vehicle. Is that right?
That's what I have so far. We did see police approach the passenger side of the vehicle immediately, but the driver was very compliant. Once the truck stopped, opened the door, hands up on the ground, prone, police ran up and in custody in a heartbeat there. So at least there was no struggle, no fight, no shots fired here at the end of it. A bad start when you are running over a police officer or a police vehicle, and it went from there to worse, obviously, as we had this long 35, 40-minute police chase through both sides of the state line, through neighborhoods. And again, I'm just so thankful that nobody got hurt here, no major accidents, no pedestrians hit, although we saw a bunch jumping out of the way. Right now, I guess we couldn't have asked for a better outcome in that regard. Yeah.
Well, this guy goes to jail, and law enforcement with a ton of paperwork ahead of him this afternoon and into the evening. Wow. News Chopper 9's Johnny Roeland. Johnny, as always, thank you. Brian?